Reddit has been killing every critical community of the trans issue. It just came out a few weeks ago that there was one individual who was working for Reddit, is a trans woman, and has some connections with some pedophilic and directly pedophilic behavior with her father and their husband and stuff, was on the board and preemptively squashing any sort of even mentioning of their name. So just bringing up Reddit because that's a perfect place for this astroturfing to happen and for this pseudo grassroots movement to happen. You have a bunch of communities that feed upon each other that are trans positive, very strongly trans affirming, and then the kind of the pushing out of the other view to the extent where you have a website or a subreddit called 2X chromosomes. And I don't know if it was regular, but a couple weeks ago, their entire front page was trans women. So you have that cultural force that looks to be emergent, but to what extent is it being played with or being kind of hemmed in by the superstructure? How is it being supported behind? And then to what degree are a lot of people being caught up in this and then just reinforcing this movement? Yeah. I'm going to land this plane really quickly to get back to your point. The way in which the transgender ideology has completely taken over the gay community and the lesbian community, the LGBT community, and enforced itself by kicking out anybody who doesn't agree with it or who questions it, does, to my mind, make it justifiable that there would be a secessionist movement. Say, okay, no, we can't even have you at all in our community because this is founded on some behaviors that we can see control our language, control our thought, and then persecute us when we don't agree.
Yes. Yes. But I want to also backtrack a little bit to even the use of the saying trans woman or trans people, or like when you were just talking right now about that so-called trans person who works for Reddit, like what biological sex is that person? Because
Amy
that's
Chandler.
where,
Amy Chandler is the name you're not supposed to say.
Is that a male though? That's a male, a biological male? Because that's like that. See, this is important because when we don't use the correct language, when we go along with the trans language, we're gaslighting ourselves and the audience. And that's destabilizing for people to be grounded in reality, material reality, biological reality, right? So like if we go along with their terminology, we're affirming it, we're playing along, we're playing into it, we're feeding it, we're making it bigger, we're making it stronger, we're making it legitimate, right? So we're like saying that we can't do that. We have to operate from the basis of what is biological sex, because biological sex is what defines us as male, female, man, woman. And so homosexual, bisexual, heterosexual, we're talking about biological reality here. So if we don't go along with biological reality and we go along with trans nonsense, religious pseudo BS reality, then we're enforcing it and affirming it. And we find that to be really scary and problematic because we need to talk about who are these people really? Like, is that person really a woman doing that? Or is that person really a man? Because that's important to understand the movement, who's behind the movement, who's funding the movement, who has power over the movement, who's shutting down the voices of dissent like ours, or like the super straights, or all the desisters, they all got shut down. All the tons of feminist groups get shut down. It's just, they just systematically go through and kick people off of all these different social media platforms. And there are large groups of people who are like, whoa, this is nuts. We need to like regroup society. And then those people get shut down, and then those people get shut down. So, I think we need to just call out what it really is and what's really going on here. So that's part of what we want to say to, your audience too. And Belissa can speak to this too. But, I think people think that it's nice to go along with trans woman or trans man. But we don't think it's actually nice. We think it actually is harmful, ultimately, to contribute to and participate in a lie. We think that's harmful to society. And it's especially harmful to young people and kids and anybody who's struggling with maybe believing the lie. It's really harmful to them. Belissa, you want to speak to that?
Well, people think that it's important to be kind to people. And I think kindness is a really important value. But is it kind to support somebody's delusion. It is nobody can be or become the opposite sex. Men don't have penises. I mean, women don't have penis. Men have penises. We all know that. Yeah, see, they almost got me. Mm-hmm. Women don't have penises. Men don't have vaginas. And
there's no such thing as lady dick. There's no
lady dick.
Doesn't exist.
Not even with a Q.
There's no lady dicks. I think we know this. We all know
maybe not even with a Q. And to when we say that somebody with a penis is a woman because we're trying to be kind to them, first of all, they probably know it's not true.
They do.
Yeah, exactly. They know it's not true. And it's not only not kind to ourselves to force ourselves to lie when we can clearly say that it's not true. We're doing mental gymnastics to speak in these terms. And also, we're always sending messages to kids and to vulnerable people that who might not understand that this is a social lie that we're telling. Kind of like, oh, you don't look fat in that dress. But unlike you don't look fat in that dress, this has severe repercussions, both for the person who's pretending and trying to get the world to go along with their delusion, and for everybody listening. And for the people who don't agree that women can have penises, when we go along with it, we're not supporting people who want to live in reality. We're saying it's not safe for you to speak up either, that you need to keep your mouth shut because I'm willing to keep my mouth shut. And I'm willing to appease this cult-like belief that people can change sex or people are born in the wrong body, or that it's okay to LARP, which is live action role play. It's okay to LARP as long as you don't call yourself the opposite sex, but you can still LARP or cosplay or masquerade or pretend. And we'll all just go along with it and we'll use your preferred pronouns because we want to be kind. But in the larger sense, how many people and different kinds, anyway, how many people are we being unkind to? How many people are being treated unkindly when we are kind to this one person?
Well, I think what it goes is looking at society as a whole, what's good for the greater good, right? So is it good for the greater good to pretend that we don't know what a man is or what a woman is? Is that good for this greater whole? Is it good to tell kids in a grocery store, no, honey, that's not a man, that's a woman? I mean, that's a lie. That's a straight up lie. Don't say that, honey, you might hurt his feelings, right? I mean, it's like, that's craziness. It's crazy making. So when we engage in like the mental gymnastics, the affirmation, what it not only does for the damage it does to the greater good is it's destabilizing. It's trying to lie and pretend to yourself, no, that's really a woman, when you can clearly see it's a man. So there's that, but then it's also like to the individual who's believing the lie themselves or trying to live a lie. It's also damaging for them. So would we say to an anorexic, yeah, you're really fat. You're right. You look so fat. You need to go get liposuction. You're so fat. Like, go change your physical body, right? They're messed up and they think they're fat. Do we go along with that? Or a schizophrenic who's like, there's an elephant in the room and it's chasing me. Yes, there is an elephant in the room and it's chasing you. You better run, right? I mean, it's like to affirm these bad ideas, to affirm a false belief, is to seriously engage in a false reality. It's to create a false reality. And I don't think that that's good for all of society. It's not good for young people. It's not good for anybody vulnerable to this narrative. It's not good for law. It's not good for policy. I mean, it's all around just a bad thing. First, I think personally, we think it's bad all around. It's harmful. It's ultimately very harmful. So to even play along with the narrative is to play along with the gaslight.